What is green technology? How can smart data centers help save energy and the environment while also creating new jobs? How can businesses benefit from these innovations? Hello, I'm Rhiannon Bailard, Director of Pepperdine University's Center for Sustainability, and this is the Grazie a Dio Business Report. Today is Friday, February 5th, 2010, and here to answer these questions is Susanna Kass, CEO and co-founder of EVOASIS, an electric vehicle charging community utilizing renewable energy. Susanna is also the executive board member of Demand Response Smart Grid Coalition in Washington, D.C., as well as the executive advisor to Goldman Sachs Clean Tech Smart Grid Fund. Previously, Susanna was the Chief Operating Officer of Trilliant Network, a Redwood Shores-based smart grid company with over $100 million in revenue and over 1 million smart meters across 17 countries. Prior to that, Susanna was the COO of eBay International and held senior management corporate positions at both Sun Microsystems and Hewlett-Packard. She's also the former marketing chair of Utilimetrics, a global energy consortium of utility and smart meters experts. She founded the Asian Women Leadership Forum as well as Women in Electricity and is the former chair of the Chinese Professional Software Association. Her educational background is just as impressive with an MBA from Pepperdine University, as well as a graduate degree in business for executives from Stanford University and 2 undergraduate degrees in both business administration and computer science from San Diego State. Most recently, in November of 2009, Susanna received the Distinguished Alumna Award from the Grazie a Dio School of Business and Management at Pepperdine University. So here to discuss all that and more is Susanna Kass. Susanna, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Rhiannon. It's my pleasure.
Well, I wanted to start off by really just talking about sustainability and what that means. There's so many different definitions that we hear, everything from a company's longevity to the ability to use resources in a way that's not negatively impactful to the ecosystem. And I know at Pepperdine we really focus on this notion of the triple bottom line, and that's the notion of looking at not only those environmental considerations, but also the economic and social implications of sustainability. How would you define sustainability, and why is it so important?
Well, climate change caused by greenhouse gas emission is definitely by far a global problem, and it's one of the greatest environmental and social economic challenge, I would say opportunity of our lifetime and beyond. Sustainability program employed best practices from all these various disciplines, and both the supply and the demand side to supply us continued energy, because we certainly have a lot of plug load, but at the same time also reduce the cost and the environmental impact that it has to support each of our mission and our citizenship in this community, so we can continue the teaching, the research. Like Pepperdine is actually doing really well with a new program called the SEER. Perhaps you can talk to the audience a little bit more later, and collaborate with the public service to effectively to deal with these challenges. So it's a pretty high bar to have a sustainability program that can measure your current state of where you are today. But more importantly, to your point, Rhiannon, is the, I like the triple bottom line you said.
Absolutely.
Because it's more than just managing a traditional P&L about how much money I spend, but it's really the social economic factor. Yes. And at the same time, how would you measure the environment so we can leave it a better place than where it is today?
Absolutely. So it's really the notion of looking at all of these various factors and having metrics to see what the progress might be.
Right. And from the Board of Advisory meeting yesterday, very proud to learn, very exciting news for Pepperdine, that Dean Linda Livingston mentioned that the formalization of the SEER program, maybe you can share with the audience the thoughtful thinking behind that program.
Absolutely. The SEER program stands for Social, Environmental, and Ethical Responsibility, and it will be a certificate that our MBA students can garner along with their traditional MBA degree that will allow them to focus on those critically important issues of social, environmental, and ethical implications to ensure that the business leaders that we are sending off from Pepperdine University, like yourself, have that really well-rounded set of skills, taking all of those various measures into consideration. So it'll be not only courses, but it will also look at extracurricular and community support through that program.
Well, you folks are definitely taking a very leadership role in the community and continue to be the leader in that regard, because our president, Obama, just 2 weeks ago, specifically talked about creating a new job. So thanks for doing your part and actually taking leadership in that regard. No wonder actually Pepperdine got so many awards in this field. And for the audience, I want you to be very proud to be associated with this institution, because I certainly am. The Aspen Institute just rewarded Pepperdine to be one of the top business schools for their dedication to social and environmental issues. They have done a lot of things already. Rhiannon is actually doing a really good job and a very important role as the head of sustainability for Pepperdine, in addition to the new curriculum that she mentioned in SEER coming up. And I really, really encourage we to pay more attention and continue to do our part to support that. Because I'm sure we all can help and take our part in shaping the environment going forward. So we all take part in sustainability, Rhiannon.
Absolutely, and I think President Obama, you mentioned as well, he would also agree with you, because he just last year, as you know, awarded over $3.4 billion for over 100 different projects to enhance the nation's power grid. With your background, can you tell us a little bit about what the smart grid is?
Yes. Smart grid network is accumulation of smart meters, which we all have in our residential household, or in a commercial building or industrial institution. And it also incorporates both a private network, sometimes called a mesh, that is only specific to a particular membership in a domain, versus a public network, which we all participate in, just like a cellular wireless. So it's a combination of the smart meter communicating energy data in either a private or public network, carrying information regarding the power quality. There's two terms for that. One is the reactive power and the other one is the active. And they're both important. They offset each other in terms of the voltage to actually get the power that we need when you accelerate your car versus you need to charge your iPad or your iPhone. Mm-hmm. So different quality of power. And it's hardware and software effectively work together in equilibrium from the generation to the distribution. So smart grid network is a system, kind of like a nervous system, that know where the limbs and the parts are, and they all kind of work together with one common goal, which is to enable efficiency for an electricity network to deliver superior service to each of us in our home, and to the commercial building, and to the industrial. Because in the residential area, you will require different quality of power compared to if you're running an industrial printing press plant, for example. So it's quite intelligent.
So it's better power, but it's also more efficient. And so we're actually able to save energy through utilizing this smart grid?
That's the idea.
Wow.
People are still working, of course, towards that vision.
Right. Speaking of that, how do you keep up with technology that's just evolving at such a rapid pace? It seems to be becoming faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, I would say it's more focus. I've always worked in the internet field, and I have the privilege of working in high tech. So the pace doesn't bother me. Actually, I think I'll be more worried if it is not faster.
That's true.
The good news about that is, I really think uniquely for me, is really the community. Listen to people, listen to your customers, and stick true to the focus and what you're actually trying to accomplish to deliver a compelling experience. And then somehow, I don't know how our brain works, but it's just very uniquely that you can actually filter information and focus on the things that are important to you, and be able to stick with it. And with that, I have to say, that's what an MBA program really teaches us.
And it sounds like you've got just the right perspective to be in the role that you are right now. Can you take us through a day in your life? What's it like to be the CEO of a green technology company?
A day as a C executive or a leadership role, aside from the title, I fundamentally believe is stick with your knitting, which is to create value of your company's offering, whatever that might be in terms of the product and services. Know who your communities are, know how can you effectively deliver value and make it a very good experience for them every time, consistently and predictably, and keep it simple. Any business that I have done, Rhiannon, I really enjoy, and some of the meetings we had before,
yes.
It's you who make the difference. It's what I learned from you. As much as I thought, hey, I read a lot of stuff, like you said, I know, but you also uniquely bring in, oftentimes, a perspective that I would not otherwise have known. Pepperdine is a beautiful campus in Malibu, and you have also access to many satellite offices, and each of your unique ecosystem, and you still have to do your job in terms of making it sustainable. That's a very unique offering than I would say other schools that I support that might be a little bit more concentrated in one geographic location. And the diversity of your community also make your job challenging, at the same time fun.
Right.
Right. So I would say any C-level executive or leadership role, such as yours, I share the challenges, but it actually goes with your passion and what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a big piece, isn't it? It's being passionate and really enjoying what you do, and really the notion of active listening as well, really getting out there and connecting with people, because it's really about not only loving what you do, but the people at the end of the day, whether it's your customers or your coworkers that you're with on a daily basis.
Yes, and it's and you get paid to doing that. It's pretty cool.
Yes, that's a nice perk as well. So tell me, your background's so interesting in terms of, you've got your computer science and business and your MBAs and your graduate degree from Stanford, and then the connection to sustainability. How did you get from point A to point B? It seems like such a unique combination.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have to give the credit to my two daughters, who are very, very active in their own community, in the school, and actually where we live in the Bay Area, to really take our part in be a better citizen. So I was captivated by the innocence and the complete trust of my daughters in me. And I listen, I learn from them, I get involved in some of the projects they do. And they may seem very simple, but at the end of the day, if everybody does it, I say, wow, like pennies for cause or recycling, just, little things within our own household, on the plastic bottles and whatnot. It may seem just very small, I may not have made a difference, but I was wrong. If everybody take part in the community, we all can make a difference. And it's because of them, I sincerely believe that children are really special people. They're unique. It's a beautiful stage. You can express what you can be, and they're absolutely honest, because they'll tell you the food doesn't taste good. And that change, that shifted me in my thinking about what I want to do in the rest of my life to really make a difference, to give back. And I believe someone yesterday at the Board of Advisor meeting at Pepperdine, which is an excellent event, Churchill said that, and I will recall him, is, if you take, you'll have a good job. If you give back, you really will have enjoyed a good life. And I sincerely believe the planet Earth is loaned to us by our children.
Yes.
And I need to do my part to take care of it. And because of that, I did my own research. I was pretty relentless in looking at that, and I'm very picky about some of the things, what I like to do, because I'm very passionate about that. And I developed I discovered a new frontier, climate change and energy conservation. It fit very well into my background in terms of the technology on smart grid, because I have a communication background, computer science degree, and it's business discipline that I learned from Pepperdine and the MBA, and it's allowing me the opportunity to give back, but at the same time contribute and learn. And it's a global problem. One of the key reasons I came to Pepperdine is because of the international aspects of what I feel like I learned, which is why I picked this school to be the MBA of my choice. And with a little luck, I'm in it.
Yeah, absolutely, every single day. And it's so true. It's the small things that really can make a big difference as well. I find the notion of the ripple effect is something that really harkens to me, because it's just the notion of you make one little change, as you were saying, maybe it's, you know, you're recycling your bottles and cans, or you use reusable grocery bags, and from there you start noticing all these things. But you're taking it beyond the one little thing and just dedicating your whole life to that, and that's must be so rewarding, and we thank you. The Earth thanks you for that. It's a great thing.
We all take our part, and
absolutely.
I'm glad to be here versus Mars or something.
So now we know how you got from this background of computer science to sustainability. Another thing that I find really interesting is how you went from graduate student on to COO and CEO. How did that career path come about?
Well, education is key. It enables myself and hopefully the audience, if I can share my ask for you, is you can never have enough education because it gives you the skill for you to be able to successfully do your job. It teaches you some of the basic elements on that part, and currently now with this economy, very challenging, maybe it is the best time to actually go pick up the class, get the degree that you didn't have the time for before. But more importantly, an MBA program is not like any bachelor's degree and whatnot. You need to learn being a domain expert. It's not a task master function. It's not a degree about I'm just going to ace the textbook. Right. What MBA allows you for most of the B school, the good ones, and the excellence one in the Pepperdine, will expose you and challenge you in terms of how you get along with people, the soft skill, how you come across to be an equal citizen, to be able to do a good job on a research, on a case study project. Because if you don't do your part, your colleagues in the MBA program that also participate in your case study and your program will suffer because they won't get the best work that you do. And then you have to look at the X factor. This interview only makes sense because Rhiannon and I genuinely care and collaborate to bring the best product we do for you today. It's not about me just sharing a view. It's not about her just asking a bunch of questions. It's really and today is actually, I think, a demonstration of collaboration, that we mutually respect each other and no self-interest. We want to have the best for you. And we want to take the journey together. We're glad to be here, and thank you too, because I know you're very busy. To me, that's what it's all about teaching and learning and education. So if you really enjoy all that, then you compound it with the fact that you need to be self-disciplined, you need to be self-controlled, because you have to make decisions of your life where you want to spend your time. It is time away from your family, and oftentimes for the working professionals, you should be in home having your kid on your lap. You should be reading a book with them. But on the other hand, you are in the library with your college, with your MBA students, and you're finishing up a case study project. A presentation is due tomorrow. So it is a sacrifice of decision. So you need to consult with your spouse, your children, and you say, hey, here's the reason I'm doing it. So they understand and they don't feel like you're ignoring them, but then you got to spend the time with them. And so if you can actually find a way to make that work and manage your own time and get into a field that you really enjoy, I always believe the money will come, the opportunity will be there. I have to encourage you, you have to kind of go into the moment to meet people.
Right.
So reach back out to the Alumni Association, including older generation of people like me, who love to get to know you. And give back what you learn. Ask the questions that you have that is why it's holding you back, that you're not getting that education that you want, this fall. Especially the SEER program is now available for you. And it's just through meeting the people, through these education institutions that is actually here for you. That's all they do. They dedicate the entire mission for you to enable you to kind of build a network of yourself with people that will tell you about the new ideas and connect you with new opportunity and new jobs. And I can't thank enough about all the people that give me a chance, that even though I don't have the experience, but they know that I'll be very committed to do good work because of my history and my background, and they give me a chance. The community give eBay a chance to start something, and my role is nothing more being a diplomat on the offline community to bring them to be online, and they believe in us that we can actually make them to have a richer experience between the buy-sell, and we deliver it every day. So hopefully I'll do that currently now for my new company. Electric vehicle is not on the road yet, but it's not about the charge, because no matter how you look at it, you don't get too excited about stopping by a gas station. But it's really the community of all that that kind of bring you connected with the folks, and all our energy is really created by renewable perfectly in terms of no carbon emission. And that's very unique in that regard. And we connected with people who really believe in that cause. The triple bottom line that you talked about.
Yes, absolutely. So it's really about doing the right thing with respect to the environment, using renewable energies, but it's also about doing the right thing with respect to creating a sense of community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, just like what Pepperdine does in terms of create a community, but we all take part in it. The alumni need to reach back and with the current student, and we need to take part to give and at the same time contribute.
One of the things that I know you contribute, Susanna, is the notion of being a role model. You truly are a leader and give an example to other women that you can go and have any leadership role you might want to accomplish. How far do you think we've come today with respect to gender as well as racial equality, particularly at the executive level?
Well, not far enough. But I think the progress has been excellent that I have observed. I certainly have tried to do my part. I would say in the last decade. I really think we have made a lot of differences, and I'm sure many of the people who actually study the gender science probably have more statistics, and I can share that with you offline if the audience is interested in that. I think you and I chatted about that topic too, because you also have a very challenging lifestyle, and you're certainly in a leadership position. I think one of the key things that I would say, Rhiannon and I shared, is it used to be, I would say, women need to conform to the attributes that is actually more relating to the masculine gender in the leadership position. C-level or head of a market distribution channel or head of a country or product line. But today I would say that because of the challenges of the economy and whatnot, a lot of companies come to realize that they gain more success and progress by bringing in a workforce that can actually work well together, rather than actually having more what I call a rational actor role, that you have one leader and you just have a bunch of people working, and usually that person is a male. Women actually have a tendency, the feminine attribute is we check in with each other, we connect with each other, we get more input. I wouldn't say we listen better. Sometimes I don't think that's true. Depends whether we're under stress or whatnot. But in general, I think we are more a social animal in that regard. So text messaging actually hit off in the female community. No surprise, no surprise. Yeah, email actually hit off more in the male, in that regard. But I have to say, of course, text message is completely swamped over email. It's a killer app, right? Okay, so if you charge by minutes. So I would say companies succeed now more in actually having a workforce that are more collaborative.
Yes.
Beyond the gender, beyond the culture, beyond the geographic boundary. And because all of us really pertain to providing more holistic view and a more comprehensive participation in the community, and to execute what the company need to get done. And if their voice is actually being represented, I can assure you the execution is actually more predictable as good results. So if women continue to actually be who they are, they don't need to take on the role of a male attribute, because after all, you're not born with it. However, I would say there are leadership styles that both can learn from and figure out your own path, make it work for you, and nature will take care of the rest.
So it's this notion of being true to yourself, and that really has the impact of benefiting the company from bringing these various different perspectives and viewpoints.
Yeah, that's well stated.
Well, thank you so much. I love that perspective. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is the Asian Women Leadership Forum. I know that this was an organization that you founded. Why is that organization so important to you?
Well, actually, I was a little bit self-interested when I felt that I was the lonely voice, being in a way you can say that I'm a double minority because I'm Asian and I'm a woman. And I wanted to advance in my career, and so instead of complaining about it, do something, right? So my personal goal is genuinely to bond with people like myself, who are immigrants. Was born in Hong Kong, raised in London, and live here in the United States, but travel around the world. We do need to move beyond male-female gender science. We also need to move beyond cultural differences and preferences and our own religious beliefs. And so that's actually one example that I felt, instead of looking as a negative, I discovered there's many companies love to have skill sets like me who speak native Chinese language. I learned Japanese language while I was working in HP in Japan. It's easy for me to do so because I already have the basic character set. And at the same time, they wanted to market to Asia. And I know what that is from natively. I can tell I have the language fluency, and I help them to actually be able to define product that will be successful. So, instead of looking as a negative, you go and look at, assess your assets, what you are. Don't be negative with that, but don't feel sorry about it, and enjoy it, and then try to look for opportunity where people want you, and actually that can be positioned as an advantage for yourself. And so I compete with a job that actually do well in Asia, and I actually have an advantage, rather than I go in and compete for a job that other people may have more advantages because of my cultural background. So it become pretty natural. And when we launch eBay in terms of the community, I would seek after as a guidance, and the rest is just, again, naturally just come together with the community.
So it's really the notion of empowering yourself and other women as well.
Yeah, and know your assets.
Know your assets.
Know your assets, go where people want you.
I love that. Tell me a little bit about how your MBA has impacted your career.
Oh, well, it's an invaluable education. I certainly won't get to where I am today. Probably won't get to the many steps that led to where I am today if I didn't have the education. It's absolutely invaluable. I recently learned, Rhiannon, Pepperdine also focused on the MBA program for entrepreneur, and I think that was the one that I really felt is excellent, because it helped many folks who going through the MBA program, learning all the basic value discipline and business instruments and whatnot, to channel and shape their thinking of ideas that they actually have. Can they really make that to be a company? Is it really deserving to be a company that people will invest in you and you have a community of users? And I'm talking about not just a show product, okay? You want to have mass adoption and you want to have world domination, okay? I'm looking for that very high level of discipline, especially in this trying time for the economy, but people like me actually out there still continue to raise money on that part. It really separates yourself out from, is this really worth investing? Can you genuinely look them straight in the eye and smile, and with your data set, and said, I will absolutely return you, the shareholders, with predictable performance. It's going to be the right thing, and I do no harm to your money. So MBA gives you the basic discipline on that part, and for some of you folks who have the entrepreneurial spirit, I really, really encourage you to look into the MBA program too, because it gives you that extra edge about how you're actually going to roll out a new product, launch a new idea, and more importantly, what does it take to actually make a company successful.
And that's critical, isn't it? Because don't they say that over 90%, somewhere around 90% of our employees in the United States are employed by small businesses. So
Indeed.
It's huge, the impact that can have, and
Indeed.
to be able to go out on your own and have your own business.
Indeed, indeed.
Well, tell me, has there been any lessons along the way that you've had to learn the hard way, or has it been a pretty smooth road for you?
Oh, well, one of the reasons why a lot of people come to me because they think I'm experienced. And I guess I am experienced. sometimes being viewed as the subject matter expert for a certain area. Because I make many mistakes. That's how I gain my experience. And you cannot really have your experience unless you actually make the mistakes.
That's true.
And I learned my best lessons in adversity. In one regard, I'm sad about the economy we have today. On the other regard, when I have my chat with Dean Linda Livingston, you all, by the way, have to look up the November 2009 article she wrote about the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are both problem solvers, but more importantly, they are problem seekers. If you know how to do both, right? If you know how to do both, with a little bit of luck, and for me, I need a lot of luck, you'll be fine. And so the lessons I learned absolutely are learn from the mistakes I made because I take risk, calculated risk, manageable risk, but at the same time, have the self-discipline and the control and absolutely utilize the network of people who can bounce ideas off before you actually really go out there and launch a big campaign or new product or new company. Active listening, like what Rhiannon said, and incorporate all in there and be phenomenally relentless in terms of driving hard about what you need to do. Being good is not enough. You won't be successful and sustainable in this economy. You need to be excellent. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of self-discipline, and that takes tremendous amount of support of your family and your friends who are really gonna stick with you when you're trying to do your best work. And they should be there to share your joy when you do your best work.
Well, that perspective is so refreshing too, because it's really this notion of taking a challenge and turning it into a positive. And I think that's how success is born. So yeah. Thank you for that.
Read that article, because the other quote she put in there, which is really funny, but it's true. She said, hey, the only way from here onward is go up, right?
It's true. So I wanted to wrap up with just one personal question, if you don't mind.
No.
Okay. I was married. I just got married in May of 2009.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I'm just curious as to how you do it, how you balance career, which you're obviously so successful at, and you have this wonderful personal and family life as well. How do you keep all those balls in the air?
All right. So I answered a question for the audience, and I'll answer a question for you. Well, first of all, you got to spend more time with your in-laws. For the audience, if you don't know, her in-laws actually live in my neighborhood, so she can then come up and visit me. What do you say, huh?
They do, and I love it up there.
That's right. So they live in a beautiful area, in a Bay Area, so yes. I like to see Rhiannon more. But no offense, actually she picked all the best spots. She work in Malibu and live around here. That's great.
Best of both worlds.
So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very exciting. I would say one word, for me, would be priority. Know what's important to you. Don't lose yourself just because you're married.
Yes.
Okay. You need to tell yourself at least 3 times a day, you love yourself. You're now taking on a new journey. You have decided you find a soulmate that you want to share. That's very, very special. That's one of those magical moments in life. Same thing where you committed yourself to a role, to a team, to a group, to an MBA program. You have consciously decided that you're going to make that a priority, and you're going to make the best experience for yourself and the person who you involve with, make them a better life, so to speak, right? So same thing, I'm very boring, I'm very repetitive. Same thing, I'm actually why I'm doing the green, because I fundamentally believe it's really a journey. I want to make the planet better. Continue to learn, continue to grow. Don't stay with where you are the day that you married. As much time you put in planning a wedding, plan your marriage.
Yes.
You know, the time do you spend your honeymoon? Great. Well, plan your weekend trip. Mm-hmm. You know, just don't pawn it on somebody else because you think they will just have it all work it out for you. So be an active citizen, and also be an active communicator. Certain things bother you, don't wait till you're kind of at the cliff before you complain. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things that people may not just be aware of what you're working on. And I think that works for any relationship, work included. Yes. Reach out to your community. At eBay, we're very unique. We intentionally didn't have a category manager because we wanted to let our buyer and seller take us to where we go. And I have to admit that even though we have product manager, we would never have thought of having a Beanie Baby category. And that's absolutely the fact. And no offense to my toy product manager, if he's listening. And so, reach out and have a balance, but at the same time, really focus where your reference point is. And be proud your reference point is yourself. This is not selfishness, but it's self-interested. Okay, so there's a major difference about that. And you have to make the decision that's best for you. You have to determine this relationship is rewarding to you. And learn to get out. If it is not good, it's not using a business term, a balance of trade, even a relationship, then do it. If you're doing strategic planning for your team, for your product, do a strategic plan for yourself and do a strategic plan with your partner. And that's basically how I maintain my balance of life with my friends, my network. I'm never too busy when someone needs to talk to me or someone want to tell me a problem. I may not be able to talk to you right at that second, but I assure you that I'm always available because I care. I really do.
Well, Susanna, thank you so much for a remarkable perspective and for taking time out of what I know is an incredibly busy schedule. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Rhiannon, for your time too.
Oh, absolutely.
Bye.
This is Rhiannon Bailard for the Grazie a Dio Business Report. Find us online at gbr.pepperdine.edu. Thank you.